Okay, folks. Now we're back.
Okay.
Now we're back.
That exciting.
We are back. Wasn't that great? That was sort of a new found little artsy moment that we had because we're all about technology and art here at Hubitat. And like I said, Gophers are 8-0. So whatever happens, I don't care. I know you don't care about that. But yeah, so let's get into it here real quick again about getting started. Like we said, we've done this a lot, I know, but we have some new people. So what's the number one tip? And Mike, I'm going to throw this to you about getting new devices on your system, especially if they've been working on an old system before.
Well, the single most important thing you have to do is reset them. So they need to be, Z-Wave devices need to be excluded. You can factory reset them. Zigbee devices need to be excluded as well, and they need to be factory reset. That seems to be the biggest problem that people have is they forgot that, you know, when you buy a device brand new, it's already ready to join a system, but when you move it to another system, you have to tell it
Pete,
to
the
leave.
stream is down.
You sure about that? Because it looks like it's up.
I'm on YouTube.
You're on YouTube, it's not going?
Nope. Oh, now it is.
Haha! This is just full of technical wonders today.
This is a great show.
This is the best show ever, possibly.
Possibly the best show ever.
In the comments, guys.
It's the best show ever.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you could, in the comments, rank this show on a scale of 4 to 57, what do you think of the quality of today's show?
26 being the top.
That's right, 26 being the top. That's great. So, yeah, but what Mike was saying, though, yeah, about excluding devices, I mean, that's the number one
That's
thing.
Chuck. That's Bruce. That's Pete.
This is going great.
Anyway, so the first thing you have to do is you can find all the instructions you need for your device online. You don't need to find the manuals, but you need to know what the magic keystroke is for any given device. You know, some of them you have to pull the battery out and then hold a little button down. Some of them you hold some specific button down for a period of time, but you need to do that. Otherwise, Hubitat won't find them because the device is still, you know, it still belongs to another hub.
And when pairing Z-Wave devices, it's probably a good idea to have your other old hub powered down during that process, because sometimes those other hub radios will interfere with the joining process. They still think that device is part of their world, and so they respond to it when it starts talking, and that can mess up the join.
And the other thing is, you know, we know that our significant others typically aren't as excited about electronic doodads as we are. So when you place your hub, resist the temptation to just put it on the stack of routers and servers and everything else that you've got in your diminutive little closet. Make sure that it's at least a few feet away from everybody else. And as Bruce said, it's best to, unless you know exactly what channels all your hubs are running on, it's best to turn your old hubs off while you're trying to bring new devices in.
Okay, and also one other thing, if I could, a lot of, I mean, we work with a lot of devices. Hubitat is really good about working with most devices, but it's good to check our list at our docs, at our wiki, to make sure that the device you have is a device that we support, correct?
That's docs.hubitat.com.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So,
and while you're at docs.hubitat.com, check out 2 articles. They're on the main page near the bottom, or links to them. One is how to build a good, strong Z-Wave mesh and how to build a strong Zigbee mesh. Those are real good documents to explain the steps you should go to when you start converting devices over.
Yeah, plus it'll introduce you to some words that you're going to see flying around the community all the time that, you know, may not have been on some other forums that you participated in. So it'll be an experience to get you kind of up to speed with, you know, the basics of the types of devices that you'll be using.
Right, and the community in general is pretty friendly. So for those community members watching, there are new people coming every day. So please help us out and be nice to those people that don't know as much and are trying to learn so that they can contribute someday as well. So let's talk a little bit about Lutron now. I know that's something that's close to your heart there, guys. We have one of the better Lutron integrations. So You want to take that away?
Yep. So yes, we have a Lutron integration. It does require a Lutron Pro Hub, and it's in the blue box, and it says Pro Hub on it.
If you have Radio Raw 2, you do not need a Pro Hub. It'll connect directly.
Correct. So what's the difference between the Pro Hub and the regular hub? Well, some people have, some platforms have integrations with a regular hub. That's a cloud-based integration. So when you get the Pro Hub, see, Pro, you actually get a 100% local integration that does not require the cloud. And it is super fast. We all use it. I have 2 bridges in my house. Bruce has got at least 1. And I've got a spare one too, which I don't even need. The bridge itself supports, what is it, 75 devices now, and they bumped that up?
75 for the SATA.
Right. So what you get with this integration that you might not get with other integrations is, and this is the really cool thing about it, we actually bring the Picos into Hubitat. We bring them in as button controllers. And for those of you who don't know, a button controller is just a device that sends out an event when you either push the button or hold it, or, you know, different button controllers do different things. But with our integration, you can actually use this button controller to turn off or turn on or do whatever you want, any device that you have joined to Hubitat. It's not just limited to controlling Lutron devices. You can still associate a given Pico button controller directly with a Lutron dimmer or a shade or anything like that. But the cool thing is you can bring them in and run any devices, Z-Wave lights, Zigbee lights, bulbs, color bulbs. You can lock and unlock your door. You can do whatever you want with it. And there's not every integration has that capability. So that's why you need the Lutron Pro bridge. And that's why that's there.
Nice. So Bruce, I know you are big onto the Lutron, and you have some interesting ideas. I know for how do you use Pico switches? I know you have a lot of different things you use Pico switches for.
Well, let Mike talk about that. He's the pro at that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I literally have 50 of these in my house. I think I own every different kind of Pico that exists on the planet. These are just 2 that are sitting on my desk. You can see behind in the picture there's a couple Picos there, including ones that are engraved specifically for the shades. So we've got Lutron. I don't have any dimmers or switches, Caseta dimmers or switches. I use really old Aeon micros that I got for a good price, and those are buried in the wall, and every switch is covered with a Pico, and so there's no connection between the Pico and the controller that lives behind there. So yeah, I mean, we don't use the Picos that often, obviously, because, Hubitat's about automation. So we try to automate everything.
Mm-hmm.
But if we want to override something or bypass something, or those cases where it's difficult to actually create an automation, or when we have guests over, we turn the automation on the room and, let them go full manual. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So now I know
this is the volume controller one, by the way. So this is actually mapped over to the Sonos in my office. So that's kind of a cool. I don't know. Can you see that? It's got the.
It's a little fuzzy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it's got the play pause and, but you don't need this one. You could use any 5-button controller and play pause your Sonos or whatever.
Sure. So there was a topic. This is a little off topic, but there was something in the community earlier this week about someone had a maid that comes over, cleaning lady that comes over. Their home is automated. They were talking about what kind of things they should do, what kind of modes they might have, where they could sort of return things to manual so that they wouldn't mess up when the cleaning person comes over. Can you help with that?
Well, yeah. What I did in my last house, where we had a cleaning service, basically I created a switch that when they entered their door code in their lock, it turned on a virtual switch that basically just disabled all the automations in the house. So I didn't actually change modes for them.
Okay.
I just disabled the automations because that was, and then they can go turn the lights on at whatever
Right.
level they want and leave them on and they don't go off. So that's what I did. And then when they left, we just turned that back on. And that worked out well. I mean, there's a million ways to do it, but that's what we did.
I've heard of people that turn on all the lights when it goes into that mode, and also turning on the furnace fan to get the air moving.
Yeah. See,
Sucking up all the dust.
these are all the cool things you can do in Hubitat.
I put a special wall-mounted Pico in my garage right by the door to the house, which is where the cleaning lady comes into the house, and I showed her how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And she pushes the top button, and it puts the house into cleaning mode, turns on all the lights, and makes it so that none of the motion lighting apps in the house will turn off the lights. They're set up with the option to not turn off during cleaning mode. So the lights come on but don't go off. And then when she's done, she pushes the bottom button on the Pico and boom, all the lights turn off and the house goes back to the way it was before and the way it's supposed to be. Works great.
Awesome.
So is there a Wink robot that can do that, Bruce?
I have no idea. What's a Wink robot?
Yeah, can we eliminate the need for a cleaning person altogether and just get some sort of automation that magically...
Yep.
Automations in Wink are called robots, Pete.
Okay. Well, I want a real robot. I want what's the one from the Jetsons that Rosie comes in and sweeps my little house and we can automate her. It'll be fantastic. Not so much, huh?
We'll start working on that.
I appreciate that.
I'll pass.
All right.
I really appreciate that.
I'll pass on that. I'll pass on self-driving cars. I'll pass on electric vehicles. I'll pass on all of it.
Wow. Just automate your home and be good with it, huh?
That's it, man.
Pete, in keeping with our sort of theme here of week to week on these shows, walking people through new parts of Hubitat, I've got to do a brief segment on Thermostat Scheduler.
Great.
So let me share my screen, and if I can figure out how to do that. There it is. And here we go. All right. So this is Thermostat Scheduler. A lot of so-called smart thermostats are actually sort of dumb smart thermostats. They don't have many of the features of older programmable thermostats like built-in schedules. And so we came up with Thermostat Scheduler to solve that. And this actually works very much the same way as the older programmable thermostats worked. Get this thing out of the way. Okay, so here's Thermostat Scheduler, the main screen. You can pick the thermostat you want. You could program several of them if they're all going to be set the same way, or you can install more copies of this app if you need to set different thermostats a different way. Right here at the top is sort of the status of the thermostat, what it's reporting for the current temperature, its heating and cooling set points, what mode it's in. I'm in Arizona. That's why it's still air conditioning season here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not so hot that it's actually running. Notice it's idle.
It was 29 degrees here, Bruce, today. 29.
Okay, so anyway, and one of the things that the Thermostat Scheduler lets you do is if you don't want to go mess with the thermostat itself, you can open this up and you can manually control it. You could manually set the heating set point, the cooling set point. You could put it into whatever mode you want. And this will just send those commands to the thermostat to do that. You can also put it into hold, which will stop Thermostat Scheduler from changing any of the temperature settings based on the settings you might have. This is very similar to hold on an old programmable thermostat. Works the same way, accomplishes the same thing. Now, eco mode is sort of a cool thing. Eco mode is a way that allows you to have the thermostat automatically be set back when you leave the house, if that's how you set it up. And so eco mode, you can determine what offset you want to use from the programmed settings. I use 2 degrees. You could use 3. You don't want to be too aggressive with this. You could be, but bear in mind that when you return, if it's a very cold day, it'll be this many degrees colder than you have it set, or on a hot day, this many degrees warmer. Now, one of the cool things about using eco mode is that especially if you use it while you're away, when you come back, it means that the temperature is going to kick in. The heat's going to come on, or the air conditioning is going to come on. And so you're going to come home to, if you have forced air, you're going to feel warm air blowing, et cetera. And so you're not probably going to notice the fact that the indoor temperature is actually less than you would normally have it set. You're coming from outside where it's cold, and now it's warming up. So it's actually a very good feature, and of course it saves you energy. Now, there's 2 ways to set up schedules. The way I have it set up is like an old programmable thermostat, where I've got wake, day, and night. I could have programmable ones would have wake, leave, return, and night. I changed them. And that's one way to do it, where we're going to use times of the time of day to set things. And you notice I'm kind of boring. I've got the same time for every setting, but you could use different times on the weekends. I do have, I even have the same set points for every single one. It's sort of silly, but that's my lifestyle. What can I say? The other way you can do it, instead of using times, if you flip this switch, we'll use modes. So you could set it up based on the modes you're going to have. I didn't set this up, but I could go through here and set up all of my modes and do the heating set point and the cooling set point for each mode I've got. And then as the system cycles through modes, so would the thermostat scheduler cycle through those settings. But I use time in my house instead of modes, and that's probably the way most of you would. And I have this one other setting here. We can go in here. You can see we can set the time for each different period. If we use days of week, then it gives me a chance to set these specific to each day. So if I wanted a different setting for Saturday and Sunday, I could do that. And now it's going to offer me, okay, I'm going to sleep in. I'm going to make it more like 7 on Saturday.
That's sleeping in?
It's okay.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly.
And I put in the set points, right? And I should make these different so they'll show up. Let me just make this 72 and 79. So they'll show up when I hit done here. And here we go. You can see that now it's got different settings for the weekend. So you can set it every day differently if you want, or you can do a 5-2, whatever. Going back in there, use eco mode for away. We can turn that off. And in which case we could choose to use set points for away instead. We could have we could program in specific set points, but I just use eco mode. We'll turn off this. Now I can also add other time periods. So I can name a new time period, and then it will give me a chance, well, it should anyway, to set that up. Well, I must have done something. There we go. There's leave. And I could set leave up. And now I can also get rid of it. I can change these things. So you can go through, you can rename it, you can name them anything you want. You can have as many as you want, and it's just going to build a schedule. It'll show you that schedule here on the main page. Now, the last little thing down here at the bottom is a required set point separation. That's optional. Many thermostats require this. Mine does. If I try to set the cool and the heat set points too close together, it won't accept them. And usually this is 2 or 3 degrees Fahrenheit. If your system is set in centigrade, I believe you can set this up in centigrade as well. So that's it for Thermostat Scheduler. Oh, and by the way, Rule Machine knows about Thermostat Scheduler, and you can write rules that will zap this and change the settings for you if you want. If you have some special thing you need, that it's integrated in with Rule Machine as well.
Okay. Well, we had a couple commenters saying that they use geofencing for setting their thermostat. So that seems like an interesting way of using it.
That's what I'm doing with away mode and
nice.
eco mode, because away is set by me leaving or both of us leaving the house, then it goes to away. And if either of us come back, then it goes to day or whatever mode it is, and that would kick the thermostat back into normal operation.
Sure. Now we have some commenters asking, do we have any recommendations for good thermostats that work with Hubitat that are known? You know, maybe they'll pay us money if we can say some nice names here. So what?
If you look back to a previous episode, you'll find one where Mike does an exhaustive review of a half dozen or more thermostats. But Mike, what are the top ones on your list these days?
Well, I'm still a fan of the Go Control. I'm more of a Zigbee guy myself, but the Go Control is like, let me go get it. Hang on. The Go Control thermostat's like $80 or something. I mean, it's $80. It's not horrible looking.
Mm-hmm.
And it works well. None of these thermostats are going to last very long with batteries, by the way. So, you do need a C-wire to run any of these.
So one commenter was asking, will a Z-Wave thermostat act as a repeater?
No.
Okay.
They usually don't.
Okay.
It depends. Some of them do if they have the C-wire. If they're running on batteries, they definitely won't. I believe it's a few that will repeat. You'd have to look at their documentation or possibly ask them.
Okay.
It's best not to count on it. Put it that way.
Sure.
As far as the Zigbee ones go, I mean, the Zen is pretty popular. That's kind of an aesthetic choice. Kono Z makes a nice looking unit now, which did they get bought? Who did they get bought by? Was it Honeywell? I think bought them.
It wasn't me. That's all I know.
Yeah, I would definitely stay away from the radio. Was it Radio something or other? Radio Corporation of America.
Didn't like them, huh?
No, I don't like them. They haven't changed the design since 1902. So there you go.
That is a long time.
Yeah.
That was back when the Gophers were 8-0 last. So that means anything to anybody.
I swear to Christ, the one I have has tubes in it. So.
So we're up at 8:30. I know we started a little late with our issues we had. Bruce, do you have any comments you're seeing there that you want to talk about?
No, everybody's chatting about thermostats, and one thing that people ask about quite a bit is Nest. Do we work with the Nest thermostat? And sadly, the answer is no, we don't, because Google shut off all the third-party integrations with Nest. We'd like to, but until Google figures out how they're going to allow local connections to a Nest thermostat, that can't support it.
Yeah, let me blab about that for a second. So, I
blab away.
Well, yeah. I had Echo. When I first started out in home automation, I had Ecobee thermostats. And they're Wi-Fi, they're cloud-based, and while there isn't anything particularly wrong with a thermostat, once I got to a specific point and with my automation chops, it's like I don't need the cloud telling this thermostat what to do. I don't want to go to their app to set the schedule. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do all that stuff. And I just spent my life fighting the cloud, trying to interfere with what it wanted to do. In other words, and it's not a smart thermostat by any stretch of the imagination, but I just got annoyed because I could automate the thermostat better than what they thought they could do. Right? So I got rid of them. And what most Hubitat users use are smart dumb thermostats, meaning they're radio enabled somehow, either they're Zigbee or they're Z-Wave. They connect to the hub And then we use automations to control them, just like Bruce showed you with, Thermostat Scheduler, or any number of ways that you can, manage the set points of your thermostats and figure out what they're doing without involving the cloud. So there it is. Smart, dumb thermostat guy here.
Love it.
Me too.
Love it. All right, guys. Well, yeah, we're up on time. So again, thanks for watching, everybody. It's Mike, Chuck, and Bruce here. We'll be back with another episode in a couple weeks. Don't forget, if you are new, we've got the documentation, like we said, at docs.hubitat.com. We've got tutorials on our website, so please check those out. Thanks for joining us, and happy Halloween, everybody. We'll see you later.